Does your anxiety ever feel like a constant buzzing alarm you can't turn off? Or maybe it's a relentless, quiet whisper of, what if, that follows you all day. You're not just stressed, and you're definitely not alone. That specific flavor of anxiety you experience is what we're going to decode today. Stay with me, because we're going to give your anxiety a name, understand its pattern, and most importantly, I'll give you a clear roadmap to managing it. Hello and welcome to Mental Wellness Insight. Today we're diving deep into the 5 anxiety personalities. This isn't a clinical diagnosis, but a relatable framework to help you identify your unique patterns of anxious thoughts and behaviors. This video is for you if you've struggled to find coping strategies that stick, or if you simply want to understand yourself better. We'll explore these 5 patterns, the science behind them, and give you practical, science-backed techniques for each one. Before we go any further, a critical disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment from a qualified therapist, psychologist, or doctor. If you are struggling with your mental health, please reach out to a licensed professional. Your well-being is the top priority. So, what is anxiety? At its core, it's your body's natural alarm system. When your brain perceives a threat, be it a real danger or a looming deadline, it triggers the fight or flight response, flooding your body with hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. This is brilliant for survival. The problem arises when this alarm becomes overactive. For people with anxiety disorders, a part of the brain called the amygdala can be hypersensitive, sending false alarms that create a feedback loop of worry and physical symptoms. You are not alone in this. The World Health Organization, WHO, reports that anxiety disorders are the most common mental disorders worldwide. One of the biggest myths is that you can just snap out of it. In reality, it's a complex condition. Understanding your specific pattern is the first step to managing it effectively. Part 2. Actionable solutions and strategies. All right, let's explore the 5 common anxiety personalities. As you listen, see if one or a combination of these resonates with you. Remember, these are patterns, not boxes. You might see yourself in more than one, and that's completely okay. The goal is to identify your dominant tendencies to find the most effective strategies. Anxiety personality number 1, the worrier. First up is the worrier. Does your mind constantly spin with what-if scenarios? Do you find yourself imagining the worst-case outcome for almost every situation, from a simple email to a major life decision? If so, you might be the worrier. What it is, the worrier's anxiety is dominated by catastrophic thinking and persistent, uncontrollable worry, often associated with generalized anxiety disorder, GAD. Your thoughts are future-focused and negative, creating a constant state of unease. The science. This pattern is linked to hyperactivity in the prefrontal cortex, the brain's planning and problem-solving center. Your brain gets stuck in a loop of trying to solve future problems, many of which are hypothetical. How to cope? The worry window technique. What it is? This is a cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT technique designed to contain your worrying to a specific, scheduled time. How to do it? Schedule it. Designate a 15 to 30-minute worry window for each day. It should be the same time and place. Critically, do not make it too close to bedtime. Postpone your worries. Throughout the day, when an anxious thought pops into your head, acknowledge it and then consciously postpone it. Say to yourself, this is a valid concern, but I will deal with it during my scheduled worry window. You can even write it down on a worry list to address later. Worry productively. During your worry window, you have full permission to worry about everything on your list. Go through each item. Ask yourself, is this a solvable problem? If yes, brainstorm one small, concrete step you can take. If it's an unsolvable what if, consciously practice letting it go, acknowledging you can't control it. End the session. When the time is up, it's up. Take a deep breath and actively shift your attention to a pleasant or neutral activity. Why it works. This technique helps you break the habit of constant, all-day worrying. It teaches your brain that you are in control of when and how you engage with anxious thoughts, rather than the other way around. It contains the anxiety instead of letting it contaminate your entire day. Anxiety personality number 2, the perfectionist. Next, we have the perfectionist. Is your anxiety driven by an intense fear of making mistakes or falling short of impossibly high standards? Do you procrastinate on tasks because you're afraid the outcome won't be flawless? This is the domain of the perfectionist. What it is, the perfectionist's anxiety is rooted in a fear of failure and judgment. It often manifests as obsessive-compulsive tendencies, analysis paralysis, and a harsh inner critic. You believe your self-worth is tied to your achievements and flawlessness. The science. This is often linked to the brain's reward and threat systems. For the perfectionist, the perceived social and personal cost of failure is so high that it triggers a significant threat response. There's often an imbalance where the fear of not achieving a goal outweighs the pleasure of the process. How to cope, the behavioral experiment. What it is. Another powerful CBT tool, this involves intentionally testing your perfectionistic beliefs to see if your feared outcomes actually come true. How to do it. Identify a belief. Pinpoint a specific perfectionistic rule you live by. For example, I must double-check every email 5 times, otherwise I will make a catastrophic error and everyone will think I'm incompetent. Design an experiment. Create a small, low-stakes experiment to challenge this rule. For the email example, the experiment could be, for the next 3 internal emails to a trusted colleague, I will only allow myself to proofread them once. Predict the outcome. Write down exactly what you fear will happen. My colleague will spot a typo, think I'm sloppy, and lose respect for me. Run the experiment and observe. Send the emails after only 1 proofread. Analyze the results. Did your catastrophic prediction come true? Most likely it didn't. Perhaps there was a small typo, but your colleague probably didn't even notice. Or if they did, they didn't care. The world didn't end. Why it works. Perfectionism is built on a foundation of unproven, fearful assumptions. Behavioral experiments provide you with direct, real-world evidence that these assumptions are false. This slowly chips away at the rigid rules that fuel your anxiety, teaching your brain that good enough is safe and effective. Anxiety personality number 3, the social avoider. Let's talk about the social avoider. Do you dread social gatherings, presentations, or even simple interactions like making a phone call? Is your primary fear being judged, scrutinized, or embarrassed in front of others? You might resonate with the social avoider. What it is. This anxiety personality is characteristic of social anxiety disorder, SAD. The core fear is negative evaluation from others. This leads to avoidance of social situations, which paradoxically makes the anxiety worse over time. SAD affects 15 million adults, or 7.1% of the U.S. population. The science research shows that in socially anxious individuals, the amygdala, your fear center, goes into overdrive in response to social cues. Brain regions like the prefrontal cortex and hippocampus are also implicated in SAD. There is often reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex, which impairs the ability to regulate the heightened fear responses from the amygdala. How to cope. The hierarchy of exposure. What it is. This is a cornerstone of exposure therapy, where you gradually and systematically face the situations you fear, starting with the least scary and working your way up. How to do it. Create your fear ladder. Make a list of 10 to 15 social situations you avoid. Rank them from 0, no anxiety, to 100, peak anxiety. For example, making eye contact with a cashier might be a 20, while giving a presentation at work might be a 95. This is your hierarchy or ladder. Start at the bottom. Begin with the lowest rated item on your ladder that still causes some anxiety. The goal is to stay in the situation long enough for your anxiety to naturally decrease, a process called habituation. Practice systematically. Let's say your first step is asking a stranger for the time. Go out and do just that. Don't flee the moment you feel anxious. Breathe through it. Notice that your anxiety peaks and then begins to subside. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Repeat this step until it causes you significantly less anxiety. Then, and only then, move up to the next rung on your ladder. Why it works. Avoidance is the fuel for social anxiety. By avoiding a feared situation, you're telling your brain, see, I was right to be afraid. I only survived because I avoided it. Exposure does the opposite. It provides new learning. It teaches your brain that these situations are not dangerous and that you are capable of handling them, building real, lasting confidence. Anxiety personality number 4, the panic-stricken. Our fourth type is the panic-stricken. Does your anxiety come in sudden, intense, and overwhelming waves that feel like a heart attack? Do you experience a racing heart, shortness of breath, dizziness, and a terrifying feeling of losing control? This is the experience of the panic-stricken. What it is. This personality is defined by panic attacks, the hallmark of panic disorder. A key feature is the fear of fear itself. You become intensely afraid of having another panic attack, which creates a vicious cycle of anxiety. Panic disorder affects 6 million adults, or 2.7% of the U.S. population, and women are twice as likely to be affected as men. The science. A panic attack is a massive acute activation of the fight-or-flight response in the absence of a real threat. Your body is flooded with adrenaline. Dysfunction of the amygdala, the part of the brain that processes fear, is thought to be a root cause. Imbalances in neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA may also play a significant role. How to cope. The TIPP skill from DBT. What it is. TIPE is a distress tolerance skill from dialectical behavior therapy, DBT, designed to rapidly bring down your physiological arousal during a moment of intense emotional crisis, like a panic attack. TIPP stands for temperature, intense exercise, paced breathing, and paired muscle relaxation. How to do it at T, temperature. The fastest way to do this is to change your body temperature. Hold your breath and plunge your face into a bowl of cold water above 50 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 to 30 seconds. This triggers the mammalian dive reflex, which rapidly slows your heart rate. I, intense exercise. If you can engage in a brief, intense burst of exercise, like running in place or doing jumping jacks for a minute, this helps your body expend the massive rush of adrenaline in a productive way. Pianon, paced breathing. After the intense part, slow everything down. Breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 4, and breathe out even more slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. This activates the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's rest and digest system. P. Paired muscle relaxation. While you're doing your paced breathing, systematically tense a muscle group as you inhale, e.g., clench your fists, and then completely relax it as you exhale. Why it works. Panic attacks are a physiological event. You can't just think your way out of one. The TIPP skill works by directly intervening on a physiological level. It interrupts the feedback loop between your body and brain, telling your system that the danger has passed and it's safe to calm down. Anxiety personality number 5, the health obsessive. Finally, we have the health obsessive. Are you constantly worried about your health? Do you frequently check your body for signs of illness, spend hours Googling symptoms, or seek constant reassurance from doctors, only to feel relief for a short time before a new worry pops up? What it is. This pattern is characteristic of health anxiety, formerly hypochondriasis, or illness anxiety disorder. The anxiety is focused on the fear of having or developing a serious, undiagnosed medical condition. Normal bodily sensations are often misinterpreted as signs of severe illness. The science. This is an anxiety disorder, not a physical one. It involves a hypervigilance towards bodily sensations and a cognitive bias where ambiguous symptoms are always interpreted in the most threatening way. The reassurance-seeking behavior, like Googling, actually acts as a compulsion that reinforces the anxiety loop. How to cope, the response prevention strategy. What it is. This is a technique from exposure and response prevention, ERP therapy, the gold standard for obsessive-compulsive related disorders. It involves triggering the anxiety, exposure, and then actively resisting the urge to perform the compulsive, reassuring behavior. Response prevention. How to do it: identify your compulsions. What are your go-to behaviors when you feel a health-related fear? Is it Googling symptoms? Is it checking your pulse or blood pressure? Is it asking a loved one for reassurance? Make a list. Expose yourself to a trigger. The trigger is often a physical sensation. Maybe you notice a slight headache. The anxious thought is, this could be a brain tumor. Prevent the response. Now comes the hard part. You must actively resist the urge to perform your compulsion. Do not Google symptoms of a brain tumor. Do not ask your partner if they think you're okay. Sit with the anxiety. The goal is to allow the anxiety to be there without trying to fix it with a compulsion. This is incredibly uncomfortable at first, but it is crucial. Ride the wave of anxiety. Use deep breathing or a mindfulness technique to ground yourself in the present moment. Why it works. Every time you seek reassurance, you teach your brain that the only way to get relief from the anxiety is through that specific behavior. This makes the anxiety stronger in the long run. By preventing the response, you teach your brain a new powerful lesson. I can feel this anxiety and survive. The feeling passes on its own. The feared outcome doesn't happen. This breaks the cycle and reduces the power of the health-related obsessions over time. Do's and don'ts. DO, practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a friend. Move your body. Regular exercise is a powerful science-backed anxiety reducer. Prioritize sleep. Lack of sleep can significantly amplify anxiety. Connect with others. Share what you're feeling with a trusted friend or family member. Practice mindfulness. Anchor yourself in the present moment to break the cycle of future-oriented worry. Don't avoid your fears. As we've learned, avoidance strengthens anxiety over time. Rely on unhealthy coping mechanisms. Using alcohol, excessive caffeine, or other substances to manage anxiety can create more problems. Believe every anxious thought. Thoughts are not facts. Learn to observe them without automatically accepting them as true. Isolate yourself. Anxiety thrives in isolation. Pushing people away will only make it worse. Be ashamed to seek help. Reaching out to a professional is a sign of strength, not weakness. Information on professional treatment and medication. While the strategies we've discussed are incredibly powerful, sometimes we need more support, and that is perfectly okay. Let's briefly and respectfully talk about professional treatment options so you can have an informed conversation with a healthcare provider. Therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. This is often considered the gold standard for anxiety disorders. It's a structured therapy that helps you identify and change unhelpful thoughts and behaviors. Dialectical behavior therapy, DBT. DBT is particularly helpful for those who experience very intense emotions. It teaches skills in mindfulness, distress tolerance, emotion regulation, and interpersonal effectiveness. Exposure therapy. As we discussed with the social avoider, this involves gradually confronting your fears in a safe and controlled environment to reduce their power. Medication. It's crucial to remember that medication can only be prescribed by a qualified medical doctor or psychiatrist. This is for informational purposes only. SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. These are often a first-line treatment. They work by increasing the levels of serotonin, a neurotransmitter that helps regulate mood in the brain. SNRIs, serotonin norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors. Similar to SSRIs, but they also increase norepinephrine, another neurotransmitter involved in the stress response. Anxiolytics, e.g. benzodiazepines. These are fast-acting medications that can be used for short-term relief, especially for panic attacks. However, they can be habit-forming and are generally not recommended for long-term use. The decision to use therapy, medication, or a combination of both is a personal one that you should make in collaboration with a qualified professional who can assess your specific needs. Precautions and potential dangers. It can be tempting to think, my anxiety isn't that bad, I'll just live with it. But leaving anxiety unaddressed can have significant long-term consequences. Chronic anxiety keeps your body in a constant state of fight or flight, which can lead to serious physical health problems over time, including cardiovascular issues, a weakened immune system, and digestive problems. It can even put stress on your heart by increasing blood pressure and pulse. Mentally untreated anxiety can evolve and increase the risk of developing other mental health conditions, such as depression. It can damage relationships, as you might withdraw from loved ones or become irritable. It can also severely impact your career and daily life, making it difficult to concentrate, take on new challenges, or simply enjoy life. Some research indicates it may even be related to issues like dementia later in life. The most important precaution you can take is to listen to your mind and body. If your anxiety is persistent, distressing, and interfering with your ability to live the life you want, that is your signal to seek professional help. Early intervention is key to preventing the condition from becoming more severe. Part 3. Integration and conclusion. How to make it a sustainable habit. To make these strategies stick, you don't have to do everything at once. Start small. Choose just one technique and commit to practicing it for 5 minutes a day for 1 week. Anchor to existing routines. Link your new habit to one you already have. For example, do 2 minutes of paced breathing right after your morning coffee. Track your progress. Keep a simple journal to note which strategies you use and how you feel. This will show you what's working and keep you motivated. Focus on progress, not perfection. You will have off days. That's not failure. It's part of the process. The goal isn't to eliminate anxiety, but to build the skills to manage it effectively. Conclusion. Today we've learned that anxiety has different patterns or personalities. Whether you're the worrier, the perfectionist, or another type, understanding your pattern unlocks the right strategies for you. We've equipped you with powerful, science-backed tools that can fundamentally change your relationship with anxiety. I want to leave you with this. Healing is possible. You are not broken, and you are not defined by your anxiety. By taking small, consistent steps and reaching out for help when you need it, you are actively reclaiming your life from fear. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to Mental Wellness Insight for more research-backed mental health guidance. Share this video with anyone who might benefit. And in the comments, I'd love to know, which anxiety personality resonated with you the most, and which technique will you try first?